Michael Apple joins me now for more on the state capture inquiry. Michael, we've moved away from the Free State and the focus is on the Northwest today. What have we heard from former DG in the province, Job Mokgoro?
Yeah, so of course he's the Northwest Premier at the moment, but we are looking at the period 2014-2015 March when he was the Director General, the acting DG in the Northwest Premier's office, and it's related to a 50 million rand payment that he approved to SA Express Airways. And this was around a resuscitation of the Mahikeng and Pilanesberg airports, but this 50 million went specifically to SA Express for flights, when that wasn't necessarily what a provincial planning document said that this money should be used for. So the question is, as the accounting officer within the Premier's office, he is well aware of the responsibilities placed on him as an accounting officer, the obligation to not approve unauthorized expenditure, anything unlawful or unbudgeted for. Now, this 50 million rand was not budgeted for flights at all. Also, the province invites 6 airlines in August of 2014, 6 airlines, nobody knows how they were chosen, to make presentations to the Northwest Provincial Government at Sun City. Nobody knows what these presentations exactly entail, but there is no formal tender process, there's no RFP, there's no request for proposals on what exactly the provincial government wants. There is no ticking of the boxes that any responsible accounting officer would expect. The buck passes and falls on him. He is the final person. His signature's on the document. In March 2015, he signs off on the 50 million rand to SA Express, but it's unauthorized, no open tender process, and it's unbudgeted for. Cross, 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 where there should be tick, tick, tick. He's in a fair amount of trouble. He's not looking like a very responsible accounting officer.
So some who testify are more explosive or have more explosive revelations than others. Are we expecting any bombs from him in terms of finger pointing at other responsible parties?
Look, he's already pointing fingers, ducking accountability as the accounting officer, saying it was the HOD and the MEC for the Department of Community Safety and Transport. He's saying that he had a bunch of MECs and HODs around him. He was the accounting officer at the top. He took at face value when they said to him, yeah, all the processes have been done, in which he understood, yes, there was an open tender process, etc., which is not what you do.
Yeah.
So he took them at face value. He is now saying, yeah, I may have signed off on it, but they are responsible. But the State Capture Inquiry's evidence leader is saying, you are the final authority. The funds were placed with the office of the Premier, and you signed off on this. You are responsible. He doesn't seem to want to take that responsibility.
And that's something that the Commission has been dealing with quite extensively, is who is ultimately responsible for what. We're expecting Nontsasa Memela to testify from SAA as well. What are we expecting to hear there?
Look, what do we know about her? She's a very combative witness. When she last testified, it was around how she was able to justify that Vuyo Ntseko, the man who couldn't remember he was married, how a month before he received a very lucrative contract with SAA Technical, that he paid 2.5 million rand towards her Bedford View home, even though he claims the money went to her mother for a piece of land in the Eastern Cape, and the mother decided to transfer it to her daughter to help her buy the house. He says there was no direct link, and she says, you know, I didn't directly benefit from it, but that's a hell of a stretch. So how is it that the head of procurement, who signs off, even though she claims she never sits in the bid adjudication committees, but she's ultimately the head of procurement, how is it that she gets 2.5 million rand from the JM Aviation director and doesn't see that as a benefit, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of tough questions for her.
Michael, before I let you go, given the fact that 6 people were arrested yesterday and 1 person handed himself over today, all of these people having direct links with revelations made at the state capture inquiry, what impact do you think that's going to have on testimony going forward?
Look, if you listen to what the Hawks are saying, and the SIU, they're saying that their arrests are not directly linked to evidence coming out of the state capture inquiry and that they'd started their investigations months before. That may well be, but the Hawks also say we have allowed these people, before we make the arrests, to have their day before the state capture inquiry. So I would agree, a lot of this information has been in the public domain for years already. But the state capture inquiry, before it finishes its term of office in March next year, needs to hear from these people. That's why it's critical that they appear, and then let the Hawks do what they will.
Thank you very much for that update, Michael Apple, giving us the latest from the state capture inquiry.